Jess here from Asgardian Strength, and today I'm going to be answering a couple questions that were asked in my group coaching monthly subscription program. If you're interested in it, please head on down below and sign up. The next start date is February 1st. So the first question is to learn consistency. Now this one is a pretty bold, not bold, very broad question to answer. So a few things, a few tips and tricks would be to redesign your environment. Does your environment align with the goals that you're trying to achieve? If it doesn't, you're going to have a very hard time being consistent. Next up is, are you trying to do all or nothing? Start off by small little habits that you can, check off daily that get you motivated, get you a little bit more consistent with those small things. And then once you get the small habits done up, then adding bigger habits in can be really beneficial. Another thing would be maybe to involve a friend with you. The more you get your friends involved, the more you're likely to commit to something. Such as like going to the gym. Like, can you book an appointment with your friend, or can you get a trainer? Can you essentially find something to help get you into the routine of doing something? And I think just lastly, just sitting down and being honest with yourself and seeing like what obstacles are stopping you from being consistent. Like, are you having that all or nothing mindset? Like I said, is your environment set up to do it? Do you have the tools? Do you have the resources to get what you want accomplished? And then for our next question, apparently it doesn't show up here. So the next question was fat loss. Actually, I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pause this. So the second question is cardio and fat loss versus muscle gain and inches lost. Well, if we're in a calorie deficit, we should see fat loss on both ends of the spectrum. Now, it all depends on what you want to look like in the end. Do you want to be toned, or do you want, just a smaller version of yourself? In order to achieve that tone look, we need muscle mass. And during a calorie deficit, we are also losing muscle mass as we are losing body fat. So it's really important to make sure that we are building muscle to try and maintain muscle. Now, if we're looking at someone that is detrained, who hasn't been weight training or muscle building, then it is possible to gain muscle and also lose fat at the same time. Now, this only happens for about 3 to 6 months. And then after that, we need to go through phases of dieting. So what that would look like is a fat loss phase and then a surplus phase where we're really focusing on trying to build muscle mass. The more muscle mass you have, the more calories you get to eat, the more of that look, that toned look you're going to achieve. Now, if you're only doing cardio, you are not going to achieve that toned look unless you actually already have muscle mass laid underneath. And also another thing to consider is, do you like doing cardio? If you hate doing cardio, it's not going to be sustainable, and you're not going to see results from that. Versus, muscle building or finding a strength sport or workout program that you really enjoy and that you just like to go in and do is a lot more manageable than doing cardio all the time. In my opinion, everybody's a little bit different, and I honestly don't care what you do so long as you love it and you can do it consistently and you can see yourself doing it for the next, 50 years. Another thing that can happen is body recomposition. Now, this thing is going to take a lot longer than doing phases of dieting. So we're looking at body recomposition for years. So looking at a 1 to 2 year time frame, that's when you're going to see a little bit of muscle added because we're sitting at maintenance, and a little bit of fat added potentially, or fat lost depending on what your nutrition looks like. All of this has to do with nutrition. If your nutrition is not on point, you're not going to reflect the goals that you are looking to achieve. And that to figure out what your nutrition needs to look like, you need to hire a professional. This is why I do one-on-one coaching with my clients. And yeah, honestly, it just goes down to what you want to look like. What body do you want to achieve when you're done this? and what is something that you can see yourself doing when you're 70 years old. Now, if you are just strictly sticking with cardio, just note that you are losing muscle mass as the years go on. And as we get into our older ages, or our older years, there we go. The muscle mass helps protect our bones, keeps our bones dense. So strength training is so important. After the age of 30, we're losing about 1 pound of muscle per year, which means that if we're staying the same weight, then that means that we're adding on body fat while we're losing muscle, which gives you just a really flat, soft look. And if that's not something that you want to achieve, then adding muscle building is super important. I like to do a combination of strength, muscle building, and also just some light intensity cardio. So going for walks, keeping the heart rate relatively low, puts a little bit less stress on your body. And in order to achieve fat loss, we need to make sure that we're managing our sleep and stress. Those two things are super important. And if they're not in line, then it's really hard to see the results that we want to. All right, hopefully this helped. And if you have any other questions, please send me a message. If you're interested in joining my group habit coaching, the next spot is open February 1st, and the link will be down below in the description box. Yeah, and if you have any questions, please leave them down below.